Hello, Greg, and welcome everyone. NOVAGOLD Resources is listed on the TSX and NYSE American under the symbol NG. The company's primary asset is the Donlin Gold project, with 19.5 million attributable ounces in measured and indicated resources at 2.24 grams per ton, more than double the world average grade. The project is in Western Alaska, is federally permitted, and has most of its key state permits. The company has excellent partnerships with the native corporations who own the land and mineral rights, and Barrick Gold, who is a 50% joint venture owner in the project. NOVAGOLD management has a successful track record of building and operating large-scale mines. Several were career professionals at Barrick and other large gold-producing companies. With gold trading near 7-year highs, we, B. Riley Securities, believe that the scale of the Donlin opportunity continues to be underappreciated by investors. In our most recent report, we reiterated our $30 target price and maintained our buy rating. The stock is currently trading in the $11 range. The 2020 drill program at Donlin Gold has been the core focus this year. Barrick and NOVAGOLD issued a joint release on the initial results on August 6th. Greg, maybe this is a great starting point. Could you speak about the program and some of the early drill assay results that included high-grade mineralization near surface?
Sure, Lucas. The program has its origins, a couple years ago as we were evaluating various development scenarios for Donlin. One of the scenarios we looked at was a smaller startup project. This would enable us to utilize smaller equipment, minimize dilution, and enhance the grade. So about 2 years ago, and one thing we noticed by the smaller mining was the grade could be enhanced. So 2 years ago, we had a hypothesis that if we did that, what would the grade genuinely be? So 2 years ago, we drilled 16 holes and had tremendous results. And it certainly convinced the owners that we were on the right track in looking at this project as a smaller, higher grade version of itself, at least initially. So this year, about this time a year ago, Dr. Bristow, who is now the president and CEO of Barrick, was up at the Donlin site and went through the geology in very good, deep detail, and was really intrigued by what he saw. After his visit, we put together an approximate 80-hole program to further explore the significance of the high-grade structures, particularly in the intrusives at Donlin. So this year's drill program, which is the largest at Donlin in over 10 years, it's about a little over 80 holes, 22,000 plus meters, and we're just about wrapping the program up now.
Thank you, Greg. And I want to return to some of the technical aspects you raised later on in my questions, but it's a special year, and obviously you're not only having to contend with all the normal challenges of a drill program, but it's a pandemic. And so how has COVID-19 impacted the company, and what has been your response to date?
Well, I'll start first with the impact on the Donlin project site, because that was where it was most significant. We reopened the camp in February, mobilized 4 drill rigs, and started drilling in March, and got off to a great start. And then the COVID-related restrictions were imposed, so we shut down the drill program in April. And like everybody, just watched events unfold. Mm-hmm. We were able to resume drilling about 2 months later after the restrictions were lifted. And, it has had its impact. For example, a lot of the drillers come from the lower 48. They have to quarantine until they get the COVID testing done. But we put in place a lot of safety protocols to deal with that, to ensure that we did not get any outbreak in our camp, which is, of course, a fairly closed-in population. And we're about 2 weeks away from finishing, and we've successfully completed this program. And as of this date, we have had no COVID cases at the Donlin site.
Great.
So I think all of the precautions that we put in place have been effective. At the NOVAGOLD level, our business, like many businesses, most of us are working remotely, and we've of course minimized corporate travel and taken the normal precautions that we're all learning to live with. So it did have some impact, but our drill productivity has been great, and we are going to wrap the program up as planned, even add a few extra holes.
Excellent, excellent. So you already partially answered a portion of my next question. That's how is the 2020 drill program progressing? Again, if there's anything to add, please feel free to share. And then maybe more importantly, when should we expect to see additional assay results from the program?
Well, we jointly released the results from the first few holes with our partner about a month ago, and some of those results were really incredible. 40 meters of 11 grams, and I'll just reference everybody to the table, but it's certainly validating the hypothesis that we're advancing, that the high-grade structures are thick enough and contiguous enough to be mined separately. So we're, so far very pleased with the results. The one aspect that we've learned about through COVID, and that's assay turnaround times have been very slow this year. And we anticipate having another release with our partner probably within a month or so. But given the turnaround times, we wouldn't expect the final results to be in until toward the end of the year. But we will, release interim results as appropriate, and we're, working with Barrick to release the next set of results, probably in the next few weeks. And we're, continuing to be very encouraged by what we see, and look forward to getting the results out there for everyone.
Excellent. This leads into my next question. There's been more than 339,000 meters of drilling completed, 1,400 holes in the project's history to establish the current resource. So tremendous amount of exploration over the many years. And so what do you want to learn from this current drill program specifically?
Most of the holes there's two primary purposes of this program. About half of the holes are intended to validate the new modeling concepts that focuses on the intrusives. And, and that's some of the results we released earlier. Certainly do that. And then the other part of the program is, as we're seeing with the intrusives, there's quite a bit of significant high grade. So the other half of the holes are intended to look for extensions of the high grade mineralization that would be mined in the first 10 years of the project life. And this is really, it's very much driven by our partner. They believe, and we agree that, high-grade mineralization encountered in the first few years of mining certainly has, the potential to elevate the returns and get it into an acceptable level. And I think you'll recall our partner looks at projects with the $1,200 prism and a 15% IRR. And the program is really intended to see if we can't meet that threshold by adding high-grade mineralization to be mined early in the life.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And what's I think important to remember is that there is a feasibility study on the project, and that has been updated twice over the years of development, the last time in 2011. And at today's gold prices, the project is feasible under those original plans. And when do you expect to update the feasibility study, and for what reason would you need to update it?
All right. Well, first I'll address the timing on when we would need to update it. The balance of the year will be spent, incorporating the new drill results into the geologic model, and that'll take a couple of months into next year to finalize that work. And then the owners will be faced with the decision, well, do we want to do a little bit more drilling, or is it time to spend the money to update the feasibility study? And that's something that we would not undertake an update to the feasibility study unless we were fairly certain of a positive outcome. And the reason is it costs to do a proper feasibility study for Donlin, 40, $50 million quite readily. So we have always taken the view to spend no money before it's time. So we'll work with our partner, understand the new impacts of the drilling, and then sometime later this year, early next year, be in a position to embark on a new feasibility study. And I think, to your question of why would we need a new study, it was a bankable study done, but it's getting a little stale now. It was last updated in 2011. A lot of things have come down pretty substantially since the feasibility study was done. For example, oil was $85 a barrel in the study, and it's currently about half that. And there hasn't been, we track the indices that impact construction and mining projects, and there hasn't been a great deal of change in the last few years. Wages up in Alaska with all the turmoil in the petroleum industry have softened. So, there's been some positive impacts since the study was done, and also, some things have moved in the wrong direction. Heavy equipment right now is certainly still a buyer's market, and we don't anticipate that will change anytime soon. So we look to updating the study. And I think the other important aspect of the study is that we're very focused on a stage development approach, build half now and half later. We're also studying the merits of the gas pipeline in the first phase, or could we reasonably defer that? And it buys us some, time to work with third parties who have approached the company about participation in infrastructure and other big capital items. So I think the new feasibility study will be, certainly an enhanced economic picture from the one put together in 2011. Which certainly showed good returns well, we didn't run it as high as $2,000 an ounce back then, but at these current gold prices, we would expect a favorable outcome.
I will put a plug in here for our research. We're calling for 2,500 gold, and look, I think that's only assuming modestly higher inflation from current levels. So I think. Lot more room on the upside there. But back to you, Craig. I don't want to go into the details here, but I think you've done a tremendous job on the permitting side. And so, but without stealing your thunder, what's the current state of permitting? What else may be left to do here?
So the permitting, I think, we approach the permitting very. I think anybody that says they can fast track permitting, it never works. And we approached it by let's do it right and take the time it needed to do it right. So we set about it in a very methodical, open, disciplined fashion to permit Donlin. We received the record of decision from the Army Corps of Engineers and the Bureau of Land Management. That's the first time two federal agencies have issued a joint record of decision. And that record of decision completed the federal permitting. So from the federal government point of view, we have all permits in hand and we have their authorization to begin work. On the state permitting, we've largely wrapped that up. We have the air quality permit, the waste management permit, and quite a lengthy list of permits that are already behind us. There's only a couple significant ones remaining, and the tailings dam permit is the most significant one. With our federal record of decision, that authorized us to build the tailings dam as presented in the EIS. But in Alaska, water retention structures, and that includes tailings dams, are managed by the state, hence the need for additional state permitting. And that, to get the final permit in Alaska requires a lot of geotechnical work and final design drawings. And that's an undertaking that costs almost $10 million. So, that permit is not on the critical path. So we've just said, hey, let's not spend the money until we're, ready to go forward. And so we haven't done the detailed engineering on the tailings dam. And once we proceed with the new feasibility study. There's more than ample time to do that, and the approval process in Alaska for a tailings dam, relative to what we've been through, is pretty straightforward in a relatively short period of time. So that's the big permit that's still outstanding, and we will, certainly address that well in advance of when we need it. But with the federal record of decision, we have the authorization to begin work at site. And I think we always knew the federal permitting was really the key permit that we needed to get.
Congratulations again. I know this is a tremendous undertaking and took many years, but job well done on this. At the end of the last reported quarter, you had 134 million in cash and term deposits. And NOVAGOLD's annual budget, including the 2020 drill program, is 31 million. So you're comfortable and you don't need to raise funds. What are the catalysts that could get people to pull the trigger and invest today? And what are NOVAGOLD's and Barrick's plans for the next year?
Well, I think I'll first comment on our treasury, and you're right. We've always been careful with our money and enjoy a very healthy treasury. We'll finish the year with in the neighborhood of 110 to 115 million dollars, and next year's budget, will likely be higher than this year's, but our share could be 20 million, 30 million. But we've got a very healthy treasury, more than enough funds to see the project through feasibility study and to a construction decision. And that does not include the next year we'll get an additional 75 million from Newmont relative to our Galore sale, and another $25 million 2 years after that. So we've got a strong treasury plus 100 million in receivables. So, we're in great shape financially. I think the catalyst for the balance of the year that NOVAGOLD, people interested in investing in the company, will be watching for is, I think the drill results are certainly going to be very key to both us and Barrick as the project advances. I think, in our materials, there's a slide that talks about, how Dr. Bristow sees Donlin and how he sees where it might fit into their future. And he stated in the last quarter that he views it as a key project, and then the owners are focused on principally understanding the geology and further de-risking the project. So I think a lot of the catalysts for us, and we'll of course update our shareholders, but a lot of the catalysts in the coming year will be our partners positioning on the project. And it's I think it's great to see Barrick. They had a few tough years, but with I think John Thornton did what he needed to do, which was really strengthen the balance sheet, de-risk the company, and cut down debt. And they were very, very successful at that. But I think now with the merger with Rand Gold and higher gold prices, they're starting to think a lot more about the future. And I think an asset like Donlin in a safe jurisdiction, fits very well into the direction our partner is going. But we're really looking forward to releasing additional results. I think it's going to, really have, really a significant effect on not just the grade, but more importantly, the return on invested capital there, both as we see the benefit of the stage development and the impact of higher gold prices. And I think I share your view, and I remember when you made the call on $2,500 gold, it seemed like a pretty bold call. I think right now, I think most people anticipate it's going to be there within a year. So it's, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. And we're just about to come up on our time here. So I want to thank you for your time this afternoon. Really, really great to connect, and congratulations again, Greg, to you and the team on the fantastic work that you've done today.
All right, thank you, Lucas.